important is this film? All this happening. Ferguson, Eric Garner, Michael Brown. How important is this happening?
Well, first of all, even if we didn't know about a Ferguson or an Eric Garner or Michael Brown, they were going on. The fact that they have now become news worthy and made national and international news doesn't mean that there have been nameless Michael Browns, Eric Garners before. So my feeling is that everything is always happening exactly as it should and on time. It's no coincidence that this is happening now, but because it's happening now, people are paying more attention. And I think life is always there, ready to teach, enlighten, and open you up to the greater possibilities of what can be done if you're willing to be awake and to see it. So what's exciting to me is that people are awake. And that if it took Eric Garner and if it took Michael Brown and other incidents to do that, then that's where we are in our evolvement as human beings. But I really think that this film can teach people a lot, because what this film says is it's been done. It was done. Y'all are not the first to do it, the first to have an idea, the first to want to protest, the first to be upset. We didn't even have the right as citizens to vote in this country. And because of that, you had Martin Luther King as a leader joining with his band of brothers with disciplined, rigorous, peaceful protest. And they had a goal and an intention in mind. You just can't march and not know what you're marching for. They had an intention, and because they were clear about what they wanted, and clear in their demands, and clear in their rigor and discipline, they were able to accomplish the goal time and time again. And so when it doesn't work this time, let's go back to the table and create another strategy to get what we want. So the question is, what do you want?
Oprah, I think one of the many reasons people fell in love with you as a brand and with the show is because you're so relatable. We see you and we think you're our aunt, or our mother, or our friend. How important and how challenging is it for you, being a mega mogul, to put yourself in the shoes of someone like Annie Lee Cooper?
Oh, that's not challenging at all. Thank you for that question. I love that question. Not challenging for me at all, because Annie Lee Cooper is my mother and my grandmother and my cousin, my aunt. She my aunt's cousin. She is the reason I said yes to it, aside from the fact that Annie Lee Cooper, the real Annie Lee Cooper, lived to be 100 and watched the Oprah show every day at 4 o'clock with tuna fish sandwich. That's the real reason I said yes. And then I had to take it beyond just that. She represents to me, and this is what you all need to know as young people, that every day there were ordinary folks who had dreams and visions for their lives, who had courage beyond anything we can even imagine, sing, rap, talk about. Because what it takes to go to register to vote when you know you can lose your job, and then you go and register to vote, and then you're denied, and then you go back and then they say, well, you got to name how many Gumby balls in this jar. Tell me how many Gumby balls in this jar. You can't do that. You're denied. Then the next time you come, they say, you got to know the Constitution. And you go back, and that was the 5th time. That was the 5th time. Year after year after year after year, she went back and tried again, because the right to be a full citizen in this country meant that much to her. And so, I stand on that. I stand on it. I stand in it. And I look at that and I go, that is who I am, and that's where I come from. So I did that role not just for her, but for every man and woman who ever walked to a registrar's office and at the end of the day, stamp denied. That's why I did it.
Well, I was, as an actor, I'm in Selma, so I really like, Selma moved me as a human being to want to contribute more to better in the world. And knowing the stories and everything that was going on, I spoke with Ava DuVernay, the director, about doing a song, and then I just was like, let me just start creating now. So I caught that moment and called John and said, man, why don't we do a song for this movie? I told him about the movie, and he said, okay, I'm gonna go in the studio on Wednesday. This is exactly what he said. I'm going to the studio on Wednesday, see what I come up with. And he sent me back, I gave him some titles. He sent me back the song, because I said Glory was the 3rd title I gave him. He sent me back the song, like piano and him singing what he sing, and I was like, this is something special. He put the spirit of what the movement is in it, and it felt like something divine. And I was like, I need to bring how the fight has went on back then, how that's the same fight we fighting right now, and we have to take the torch and go with that torch and move things forward. Like right now, it's up to us, and I felt like that's what we wanted to convey in the song, and convey that it takes all of us, and that's how the song came about.
You know, I knew Ava for 15 years as a publicist. She was a publicist on multiple projects that I'd worked on. And she actually, we were doing a movie, I was a producer on a movie called Biker Boys. Ava was the publicist, and 12 years ago, she gave me the script for Middle of Nowhere. And then, you know, jump forward 12 years, she was going to make it. And so she called me and we started talking about it, and it seemed like a good idea to go help her with it.
Wow, that's incredible. And so fast forward to Selma, her second major feature film. Speak about what attracted you to the material and why you wanted to do it.
Well, you know, we were all very attracted to it because it was about Martin Luther King, and no one had ever made a movie about Martin Luther King. But it was also intimidating because no one had ever made a movie about Martin Luther King. But it was something that Ava felt like she could really, on a story-wise, wrap her hands around. And, you know, working with Cloud 8 and Plan B and coming up with a budget, it just seemed like all the stars were lining up.
And Oprah is also a co-producer as well. She co-collaborated with us in that standpoint.
Oh, no, Oprah's amazing. She's like, you know, the Zen master, the kind of glue that helped keep us all together.
And speak about watching David transform.
You know, I'd known David from the other movie, from Middle of Nowhere. And, you know, David's a nice, petite, proper British guy. And you can't imagine how he's going to make himself fit into the suit of Martin Luther King. But David, you know, really came to set in a whole different space. Like on set, he never talked in his British accent. He sounded like King, like he was from Alabama or Georgia the whole time. It was amazing.
And you worked on TV shows, you worked on The Game for BET.
It would include some of me and Cece and my brother.
You know, it's fun. The TV is a different process. So television is a little bit more repetitious, and film you have a little bit more creative freedom. Where television you have to hit a model and stick to the model to make it work. But television's nice because it helps you understand the process so well, because you have to stay in the margins and time. And film, you get a little more freedom to design it how you like it. So both of them have different qualities that I like. I love the challenge of TV, but I love the freedom of film.
And you went to set.
Oh, yeah.
Speak about that transformative experience. They walked on the same footsteps.
Yeah, no, look. Absolutely. So we had days when we had 500-600 extras, and a large portion of our extras were people who marched in the original march. So it was a very almost religious experience to go through that with them, to walk the bridge and to have those moments where you are reminded that it's not just a movie, that it's someone's real life, that what you're representing happened, and it happened to the people sitting in front of you. So it was definitely a great experience. I just finished the last season of The Game, and which is no more. The Game is done, and then I'm starting the next season of Being Mary Jane. Thank you. So, producer, that's a very broad question. It kind of folds into two parts. There's a creative producer and a physical producer. Sometimes it's the same thing, but the creative producer is the one who helps the director and the writers and the actors, deals with the creative side. The physical producer is the one who figures out the schedule, the budget, how do you shoot it? Not what you shoot, but how do you shoot it? The best thing to do is really get started. There's no magical moment when you become a producer. Really, you become a producer when you start doing it. And that is if you're doing a big, $100 million movie, or if you're doing a $10,000 webisode, on your Canon. Either way, it's the same thing that has to happen. So the best advice is just start doing it. Just get going and don't wait.